Hello all, I'm Sajid here at Elmi Linux Made Easy. Today we are going to have a look at a few text dump commands. They are used to dump the contents of a text file to the standard output of a terminal. Many times when we are using the terminal, we don't have access to standard text editors. We have to rely upon the command line editors to print the text content so that we can see or edit it. So you can see three commands we use very often in our Linux administration, especially when we are using terminal. The first one is the cat command. It's the short form for concatenate, and it's used to concatenate files and print on the standard output. So let's have a look at how the cat command works. I'm at the terminal now. I'm going to take you to the man page of the cat command. So we have a nice description of the command, and there are a lot of parameters. Some parameters of interest to me personally are the squeeze blank parameter or the S parameter, which suppress all the unwanted blank spaces in the output. And the N parameter, which I don't use often, but sometimes we might use the N parameter to govern the number of lines which are printed at a time. So nothing complicated here. The format is very simple: cat followed by the file name that you want to dump into the terminal. So I'm going back to the terminal, and let me try printing. Let me try dumping the contents of a file called bookinsert.cql. It's a text file which contains some CQL commands, and let's see if this command works or not. Oh yes, it printed the contents of the file into the terminal. So starting from here is the content of the file, and you have a bit more here at the very end as well. So a cat command can be used for small files, but with very large files we have a problem, because there are limitations on the number of lines that a terminal can store. So if your text file has thousands of lines, then you might have a problem, because the terminal cannot accommodate that much number of lines. So we have other alternatives to deal with very big text files. We are going to deal with that in a moment, but before that I want to use a cat file with a non-text file. So let me pick up a non-text file first, and we have a video here, and let me try using the cat command with this video file, just to dump the output of this video file into the terminal. You get a whole lot of nonsense stuff, because the video file is essentially an encoded file that only a video player can understand. So what I wanted to tell you is this, friends, cat command can be used only with text files. So if you try something crazy, you will get crazy results. So I've just cleared my terminal. Now let me take you to some other commands that are more advanced than cat, and those commands certainly have got more enhancements when compared to cat. So let's go back to the slide that I've created. The second command that I want to introduce is the more command. More is a filter for paging through text one screenful at a time. So that makes sense because if your text is very large, then as I told you earlier, cat command cannot be used to dump the contents of the text into the terminal, because there are limitations in the number of lines that it can display at one terminal at a time. But more command is an advanced command that can deal with this scenario. It takes page by page and display it for the user. So let's go see how the more command works. But before that, I want to use the cat command with a very large file. I'm going to dump the contents of my kernel log. Okay, so I can see the contents of my kernel log, which is dumped into the terminal. I'm scrolling up and I'm scrolling up and I'm scrolling up and I'm scrolling up and I'm scrolling up, and I reached a point where I could not scroll up anymore, because the terminal, as I told you, has a limitation of in the number of lines that it can store. So I cannot scroll up anymore. So cat command is not very useful with large files. So I'm going to use the more command to display the contents of the file, the very same file actually. So it's going to be /var/log/kern.log. Okay, so we have got one page of the kernel log in this terminal at the moment, and you can see the percentage of the file that has been displayed. So we are nowhere, guys, and we have a lot of scrolling to be done. So if you want to use the more command to scroll line by line, you can use the down arrow. I'm going to use the down arrow. I'm sorry, down arrow cannot be used. You have to use a space. So on every press of the space, our page will be displayed with a new set of lines. So we have a lot of scrolling to be done because the file is very large, and at this point, if you want to exit, you can press Q. So that took me out of the more command. The more command is simple to use, and let me take you to the man page of the more command. You can control the number of lines using the num option. This is not very useful, and you can give a prompt message for the user using the D parameter, and this is the message that you will get at the very bottom of the more command. Press space to continue or Q to quit. So other commands are not very useful. Obviously you have the squeeze blank lines option, that's S parameter, and I've got a couple of other options as well that I'm not interested at. So I'm going back to the terminal, and I want to go back to the slide that I've created. The last command is the less command. This is a more sophisticated and a more enhanced version of the more command. Less is in fact a program similar to more, which allows backward movement in the file as well as forward movement. And when it comes to controlling the movement, you have an option to move line by line and page by page. This makes less command one of the most popular commands to use with terminals when it comes to text dumping, because of the options that it provides. So let me take you to the terminal, and just clearing the screen, I'm going to go to the man page for less command, and you can see a nice description here. That's in fact very cool. And you can see the options for scrolling. So that's quite cool. As I told you, to scroll line by line, use the arrow keys, that's the down arrow and the up arrow. And for scrolling page by page, you can use the space key on the keyboard. For scrolling down, for scrolling up, you can use the U key on the keyboard. So let's go to the very same file that we were trying to display using the other two commands. It's variable log kern.log. So we have the first page of the file displayed here. I'm going to scroll line by line using the arrow key. So at the moment I'm scrolling down, and if I want to scroll up, I can use the up arrow to go back to the very first line. And if I want to scroll down page by page, I can use the space key. At the moment I'm scrolling page by page, and if I want to scroll up page by page, I would use the U key. So less is a cool command, I would say, in terms of the options that it provides. And if I want to exit the less command, I can just press the Q key on the keyboard. Q for quit. And what about less versus more? I would say less is more because of the options that it provides. And when it comes to large files like what we have displayed just now, you might not want to have a look at the whole file, but you might be interested in a piece of string, and you might want to filter the data with that piece of string in mind. So today we have just seen how to dump big files into the command line, but we are yet to look at how to filter data using certain strings or patterns. So stay tuned guys, till we meet next time, and have a great time. Bye bye.